Now, we know the deep state, their plan here, it is now falling apart. Trump and the Patriots, they are preparing and they are ready to strike. As you can see, Trump, he's been talking about 1917, the war. He's been talking about military operations. He's been talking about the surge. And it's all leading up to something big. Now remember, Trump and the Patriots, they've been removing the blocks, removing everything over the last 3 years or so. And to bring the American population on board, you need the people to see and to understand what is going on. Because you need to start the narrative. You need to start the story. So this way, people understand what you're talking about. We're going to be going through all this a little bit later in this report. But first, we can see the plan of the deep state. We can see what they're trying to do. We know that Hillary Clinton, a lot of the corrupt politicians, they're out there and they want the mail-in vote. Why? Because they're trying to push their manipulation, because they know this is the only way they can cheat and win. But as you can see, their plan is not going to work. Actually, George Soros funded a group that pushes nationwide drop boxes for voting. The Brennan Center for Justice, which is heavily financed by George Soros, is advocating the use of drop boxes to deposit ballots on voting day this November as part of a suggested overhaul of the U.S. voting system. Now, remember, they wanted this to go out until November, this event. This way they can say, hey, listen, people can't get to the polls. We need everyone to mail in their vote. And this way they can manipulate it. Remember, Trump, when he was giving a presser, he already said, listen, mail-in votes equals cheating. And then he mentioned voter ID. And he said this would be a much better way. Now remember, Q has told us that they're going to be pushing for voter ID. He started the narrative with voter ID, saying mail-in votes is subject to cheating, and to make sure there is no cheating, everyone should have an ID to make sure that you are the right person who's going to place that vote. And we have IDs for everything, and nobody says a word about it. Now, very interestingly, we know that Tom Fitton has been trying to get Hillary Clinton to testify under oath. And then we also know that a judge has ordered Hillary Clinton to testify under oath. This is what Tom Fitton tweeted out on April 3rd. Hillary Clinton alleges she is too important as a former government official to be required to comply with federal court orders to testify on unanswered questions on her email misconduct. So she's saying that she's too important and she's above the law, that she doesn't have to testify where a judge is ordering her to testify. With all of these individuals, you have to look at their actions, not what they say. Oh, nobody's above the law. Nobody says, look at what she is doing. A judge has ordered her to do a deposition under oath, and she doesn't want to do it. Then Tom Fitton on April 6th tweeted this out. Breaking. State Department of Justice tells appeals court it should reject Clinton effort to avoid testimony. She doesn't want to testify. She's been trying as hard as possible. Her attorneys have been trying as hard as possible to say, hey, she doesn't have to do it. They're trying to get a stay. They're trying everything. And it is all failing. Now, we know that this event that we're in right now, this coronavirus event, it was created by the deep state. The chaos, the panic, the fear, the mainstream media, all these players helped to create this situation. Now, I'm not saying the coronavirus is fake. It's a real virus, but it has been blown out of proportion to the nth degree. And let's look at what is happening here. And let's go down what we think is going to happen by looking at some of Q's posts and actually what Trump has been telling us, because it's all starting to fit together. Now, Japan, they declared a state of emergency on April 7th. It will go into effect on the 8th. We're seeing certain individuals that are passing away due to the coronavirus. We have actor Jay Benedict. He dies of 68. He was an actor in the film Aliens, and he just passed away. We also have UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He has the coronavirus, and he's been taken to intensive care, and they're saying that he's not doing that well. Now, this is very interesting. Why Boris Johnson? It doesn't really make sense. The only thing I can think of is that this is how they're going to present hydroxychloroquine. He's a high-profile individual. He has coronavirus. He's not doing well. And he's going to use the hydroxychloroquine in front of the world, and he's going to get better. Remember, the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians, Fauci and the rest, they do not like hydroxychloroquine. The question is why? Look at what these people have been tweeting out. Maxine Waters, do not listen to 45 when he suggests untested hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID-19. Listen to Fauci. Don't listen to 45 when he says heat will kill the virus, or he won't wear a mask, or when he calls hospital workers thieves, or refuses national lockdown. 45 just can't be trusted. This is what they wanted. They wanted him to lock it down. They wanted him to be suffering. They wanted everyone to be following Fauci, but he did the opposite. Look at Valerie Jarrett. Hashtag believe Fauci. Look at Representative Tavia Golansky. I can't take it anymore. I've been to The Hague. I'm making a referral for crimes against humanity tomorrow. Today's press conference was the last straw. I know the need for a prosecution referral when I see one. She's talking about Trump, where he's saying hydroxychloroquine, this could be a game changer. She's going to The Hague. They don't want anyone to know about hydroxychloroquine. Remember, he started the narrative. He said it was going to be a game changer. And ever since then, the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians have tried to stop this drug. The FDA already gave emergency approval. Think about certain governors in certain states that said, listen, we don't want anyone to use this. And we have many physicians that have been using it, and they've been seeing incredible results. A licensed physician in Utah said that he is unable to prescribe hydroxychloroquine because the state has taken over distribution of the drug. For some reason, they don't want this out there. So let's go back to some of Q's posts here. This is post 693, February 7, 2018. When does Big Pharma make money? Curing or containing? Cancer, AIDS, etc. Mine will be blown by chain of command. Post 694, February 7, 2018. What if cures already exist? What about the billions public-private government provided to fund cure develop? Sheep, these people are sick. Post 735, February 11, 2018. And Anon asked the question, how long will we have to wait for the cures of cancer and other sicknesses? Q says, chatter amongst those in control has begun. They know, which means the public will know. Release prior to cover-up, public inform, and collapse. Which option? The patriots are pushing the cures. It's time for the public to know, and the mainstream media, pharma, are all pushing back. It's game over for them. Why did Trump keep Fauci as the spokesperson? It was for optics. The mainstream media, the Fauci, pharma, the rest are not even looking into hydroxychloroquine. Once it is shown to be the cure, the public will see the agenda of all these entities. And they might even show the cures for other diseases. This is what they're worried about. They don't want the public to see any of this. Now, very interestingly, last week, the liberal media group had filed a petition with the FCC to constrain public access to updates on the federal response to the ongoing public health pandemic by mandating television disclaimers to the president and media figures who possess opposing political views from free press. Now, the Federal Communications Commission rejected a request by the far-left media group, Free Press, to censor President Trump's presser conference. Now, that is very interesting. They actually wanted the press to censor, the FCC, to censor what Trump is saying. So what's the next stage? Is the next stage cutting him off completely right now? This is what Brendan Carr tweeted out. This left-wing group is the same one that pressed the greater government control of the internet through so-called net neutrality rules before it became democratic orthodoxy. They got Obama to force the FCC to enact that one. They're telling you their next move. And he went on to say, we denied the petition flagged by MZ Hemingway, which asked FCC to take action against broadcasters that air the president's coronavirus briefings and more. Good. Free speech win, though it won't be the left's last attempt to weaponize the FCC against conservative voices. Now that's very interesting. Why are they trying to stop the broadcasts? What don't they want the public to see? What are they afraid of? Think emergency broadcast system. Think emergency alert system. Now, the deep state, the central bank, they're pushing their plan and they're exposing exactly what they want. We had the St. Louis Federal Reserve head talking to the media, and this is what he said. St. Louis Federal Reserve head says Americans should be tested for COVID-19 daily and forced to display a badge on their clothing with the result. I think we've heard this before. Wasn't this during Nazi Germany, where certain individuals had to wear badges on their clothing? Yeah, I think we have. And then we have Hillary Clinton. You can see she is in a deep panic right now, because the other tweet that she gave the other day was talking about slaying the dragon, and now it is streaming, which I do believe the dragon is Trump, and they're talking about slaying him. Then she puts up this tweet. It says, it took 70 days for Trump to treat the coronavirus, not as a distant threat or harmless flu strain well under control, but as a lethal force poised to kill tens of thousands of citizens. Replace this man in November. Then there's a picture, and it looks like a scope focused on Trump during the presser. Now, yes, I know this is a camera, but when you look at it, it looks like a sniper scope. Someone should tell the Secret Service that there's a threat here. And this was an article out of the Washington Post. I believe she's sending some type of message. Now, the narrative to shut down the deep state event has already started. We already have the CDC and others saying, well, the coronavirus deaths are going to go from 2.2 million to 200,000 to 81,000, and they did this in 8 days. They keep reducing the amounts. Trump has been pushing the narrative of hydroxychloroquine, and we can see right now he's doing it again in his pressers. And I believe what they are doing right now is they're starting down the path of shutting down the fear, panic, and chaos. And I do believe that we're in the midst of the mission right now, where it's about to begin. Because yesterday, Trump tweeted that we needed to listen to harvest.org. He said to pray at 7:14. And Matt Whitaker tweeted the following. If, and the word and the letter I is in brackets, it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven. I will forgive their sin and will heal their land. And it says 2 Chronicles 7:14. Now everyone's thinking that 7:14 is a very specific time for something to happen. And let's go to post 129, because Matt Whitaker has the I in brackets, and it says closing act. And the word closing has the C in brackets, bold. The I in closing is in brackets and bold. And the A is in brackets and bold. And that is CIA. Dismantled. Impossible to clean. Operations. No such agency. NSA. Then we go to post 753. Think image drop. Think OP. Think united. When does a bird sing? Everything has meaning, and it has the I in brackets and bold. So there are messages being passed, and something big is about to happen. And let's move to April 6, 2018, 2 years ago. This is post 1037. Booms en route. Blind, 5x5, green, with a lot of numbers after it. Post 1038. Device hold. Comms transfer castle. Chatter. Rig for silent. Q+. Does this mean that comms are going to be transferring from the castle to maybe Air Force One? Maybe. 1039. Here we go. And then we have post 1043. Remember, this is all April 6, 2018, 2 years ago. It shows a picture of Barack Obama. And Barack Obama, he's in tribal attire. He's holding an AK-47. And it says, pics will surface of Hussein holding AK-47 in tribal attire. One of many. Net shutdown. Remember, it seems that the censorship of Google was removed. We can see Rachel Chandler. We can see Barack Obama in tribal attire. We can see these pictures now. Post 1044, it says, fake pic push by mainstream media. Videos backup. Google kill. YouTube kill. Facebook kill. Twitter kill. Yahoo kill. Bing kill. Instagram kill. Net will be paused. Hammer on the clock. So it seems that something big is about to happen. Post 1045 says, how soon? We don't inform our enemies of the specifics. We instead instill fear in them to make unplanned and disastrous countermoves. Now remember, this was 2018. Did the deep state back then, the CIA and the rest, believe that this was happening back then? Remember, Trump and the Patriots, they've been monitoring them, watching them to make certain moves. They know exactly what they've been doing for 2 years. And I believe this is why Q has been talking about that. Then we go to post 1046. It says, epicenter, full house. They are all here, 24/7, 365. Enjoy the show. Now, does that mean they're all here on the board watching and reading? Or do they know exactly where they are? Because it seems the surge is happening in New Jersey and New York. Very interesting, and I don't think this has to do with COVID-19. Post 1047. It says, normies, and this is Anon saying, normies don't give a crap if he is Muslim with a gun. They won't care. Q says the important point is who Hussein is aiming the gun at. Red, white, and blue. Spray. Q. Then we go to post 1048, and it says, connect via past religious leaders, R.E. Hussein. We have everything they know we do. Risk is in all capital letters. Then we move to post 1052. There's a lot of posts on April 6th. It says, and this is an Anon, I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. Where we go one, we go all. Under this, it says, your trust and faith in us is enough. You elected us to do the heavy lifting. Enjoy the show. Birth of a new nation, new world. Isn't Easter a rebirth? I believe this is all starting to fit together now. Post 1053. It says, that didn't take long. Border state coincidence, saying that they were able to cut off the borders. There was an article from Breaking 9/11 above this, and he's talking about the border and how he was able to shut this down very, very quickly. Actually, the border right now has come to a trickle. So let's move on to post 1054. Here we are back with Ray Chandler again. It says, look up Ray Chandler. None are safe. And if you look in Google, you can see all the pictures with Ray Chandler. I checked today. You can see it all. Post 1061. It says, what a coincidence. Roseanne Barr conspiracy tweets. And this is a link to CNN.com. Post 1060. It says, Q. This is an Anon asking a question. Q. Was pedo drop narrative and recent bread distraction or plan? Q says, not planned, but necessary. Post 1059. It says, watch the news. Post 1058. It says, operators are on standby. Post 1057. Then we get into Ray Chandler, pictures of Ray Chandler and the modeling agency. We have Ray Chandler with Eminem, and it goes on and on and on with Bill Clinton and other people. And you can see there's a definite message here letting us know that all of this is about to hit. And then we have post 1063. And it says, spread out by design, MSNBC Next, @Jack, no Pedagate, bot push, Ray Chandler, saving for Monday, waiting, open the door, @Snowden, close the door. So it seems like there's a major mission about to happen. Now, what's very interesting is that Trump talked about 1917, and the U.S. Marines, they tweeted this out. On this day in 1917, the United States entered the Great War, where Marines would fight in sustained land campaigns before returning from those battles to immediately begin redesigning how to go to war. Then we have the National Guard. They tweeted out today, this is our go time. The country and state are depending on us. I am certain we will meet the challenge and win. And Trump tweeted this out. Light at the end of the tunnel. So let's start putting all this together. The deep state, they were pushing a 16-year plan. Trump interrupted the plan when he was elected. Trump and the Patriots put a plan into place to drain the swamp and restore America and remove the swamp, the deep state. The deep state is made up of mainstream media, corrupt Ds, corrupt Rs, central bank corporations, former bankers, and non-elected individuals who hide behind the curtain, leading all the way up to the Rothschilds. The plan was created to slowly remove all blocks and expose the deep state and bring them to justice. The deep state, the mainstream media, did everything they could to stop Trump, manipulating the elections, using all the isms, Mueller investigation, impeachment. None of it worked. That brings us to the pandemic, where the deep state was going to push everything they have to push their 16-year plan. Crash the economy, remove Trump, manipulate the elections, put the person they want in as president to continue the 16-year plan. The Patriots, they knew the playbook. The Patriots unleashed the storm. The deep state wanted Trump to lock down the U.S. to show that he was a dictator. Instead, Trump said he would put out this idea of social distancing, and it's voluntary. And Trump knew that certain states and certain governors would push the lockdowns. All part of the plan, exposing those individuals. In the very beginning, Trump announced hydroxychloroquine. This was to start the narrative. The deep state, the mainstream media tried to stop it. They are still trying to stop it because they don't want anyone to know about it. Trump kept Fauci, the deep state player, in front for optics while the Patriots went to work. The deep state is now being exposed. The mainstream media created fear, panic, and chaos. Those who want to vaccinate the world are being exposed. Those who want to shut down the country are being exposed. You're seeing all their plans, what they wanted to do, and they're being exposed. Trump dispersed the National Guard, the military soldiers across the U.S. They set up makeshift hospitals. 2 hospital ships were brought into the ports, Mercy and Comfort. They weren't for COVID-19 patients, but now Trump is saying in New York, Cuomo said we needed it for COVID-19 patients, and now he's allowing that. That's very interesting. Masks are being made, ventilators are being produced. We have field hospitals all over the place, but we're missing the patients. The hospitals that are reporting that there's war zones, there's patients everywhere, people have been filming them, and they're empty. Trump announced an enhanced narcotics military mission in the middle of a global pandemic. Why? This is to remove the power structure of the deep state, CIA, etc. Why did he do this in the middle of a global pandemic? Does that make sense? Unless he knew the playbook. Trump continually mentions that we are at war. We are fighting an invisible enemy. It's almost like 1917. We'd never trained for anything like this. Except if you go back to 1917. This is about exposing all of it. Everything. Child trafficking, big pharma, 16-year plan, vaccines, the mainstream media, corrupt politicians, etc. Trump is building the narrative. He needs to create the framework before he goes after the big players. People need to be shown. They need to understand the story. Without that, he couldn't go after these individuals and just arrest them. Actually, Q explains this in a post. This is post 725. This is February 11, 2018. Actually, when all of this started. Ask yourself, would the public understand the following statement? Rogue actors, clowns, U.S. former heads of state, initiated a missile launch in order to force the U.S. into war conflict against X. Q says, be the autist we know you are. Those who cannot understand that we cannot simply start arresting without first ensuring the safety and well-being of the population, shifting the narrative, removing those in D.C. through resignation to ensure success, defeating ISIS, MS-13 to prevent fail-safes, freezing assets to remove network-to-network abilities, kill off chain of command to prevent top-down comms org, etc., should not be participating in discussions. They needed to remove all of this, and Trump now needs to start the narrative. He needs to show the true evil, what the pharmaceutical companies were up to, what the deep state was planning, what they were doing behind the scenes. He needs to start the narrative, because once people understand, once people realize and see it for themselves and they're shown, it's much easier to say, you know something, this is what else these people have done. They are now treasonous. People will put this together. Now go back to the FCC. Why were they trying to shut down the pressers? What don't they want the public